I love you all. I will open with a quick passage. Just so everyone is clear, I was not aware that this was a verse in the Bible that is a quote from Jesus, so I will put that out there. That's not the claim here. But in this instance, I feel for me it is particularly applicable, and that is a passage out of Matthew 10:19. Maybe this is helpful for somebody. Fluorite. Nice and clear. For me, when I hold this, steam vent, right? It kind of feels like that. It's really pretty. You can see all the way through it, right? It's solid, but it's almost like it's not. And maybe that's kind of the point. It's very, very wonderful. This is a gift. Gifts are a thing to pay attention to, especially from highly spiritual people. I don't know how highly, this person, I didn't look into how highly spiritual they were, but Ashley, my wife, picked up some, no, it was a piece of furniture. It was like a desk. She was going to start using a desk to shoot her tarot videos. Her channel, by the way, is Aquarius Rising. If you want to check her out, I highly suggest that you do. She got that desk, and the gal there said that her and her spiritual community of what seemed to be to her, I think, witches or something, some form of that kind of concept, were moving down to New Mexico, I believe, or Mexico. But when they were moving, she couldn't take everything with her. And so she gave Ashley a bunch of magical stuff. And this was one of them, and then Ashley gave this to me. And it's proved very helpful indeed. Another thing that's been proven very helpful is this. This is ahoite. I think it's just quartz crystal, right? But this blue-green shit grows in it. It's really pretty. I gave Ashley a necklace of it that's sometimes I wear because it's nice and bulky as well. But those are two helpful things I've found for me when I've wanted to go to something. Early on, I couldn't really work with crystals because they just, whoa, man, that's a lot of energy. But I guess starting out with stones, meditated with a lot of stones, but at a certain point they became like they'd almost draw energy from me. Certain ones, like really dark black ones that were like from the beach that were, I don't know, really smooth, kind of like this guy. Sometimes ones like this, the one that I had, I kind of lost. I treated it like a void or something, but that stone made me want to use something else. And then I tried the crystal thing, and like I said, that was a lot of energy for me. And so I turned to wood, and I started sensing different sensations by dealing with the different types of wood, and basically expanding my internal universe and how I connect with energy. If you want to talk about quantum entanglement, I entangled, and then mixing in spirituality, I entangled with various tree spirits, right? And, forest spirits, all kinds I don't even know, you know what I mean? I'm going through life as an archiver of sorts. A very good friend of mine, we've grown apart. He was actually my ex's brother, and he was a Gemini. And I didn't find out till later that I'm a Gemini rising, but finally found a calendar, a birth calendar that my mom, she passed away, but she's here. We had a falling out before she died. But apparently, I feel like the bond has been strengthened and fixed a bit, healed, if you will. Is that why we came through all this? That's fine. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry you suffered. I hope you're happy and feeling well, you know? She had an affair with my dad, and my youngest sister is a half-sister of mine, and I didn't know. We didn't all know until much later. And I grew up in a Christian home, and so it was kind of like put under the rug, but not that that's a Christian thing per se, but we found out at a certain point, and I kind of probably really had like a scarring in the sense of being able to trust women, you know. Felt emasculated, I suppose, because the guy was a very masculine guy. He was a welder and very, you know, man's man kind of guy. So I always felt that if I didn't act that part, that I wasn't a man, you know. So very much gave me a rough go right from the gate, and I didn't recognize that, and I guess I haven't fully until now, but it's been a development. Your environment shapes you, our environment shapes us, and what we're making out of it is due to the fact that we can't go to those places willingly. We have to be drugged there. We have to be pinned into a corner before, you know, we'll go there. And due to that, we've lost our power. Our tiger, the dragon in the lair, hoarding all the treasure. The treasure's really ours. It's not supposed to be locked in a lair. There's a dragon, but he cries in the end of the story because he just wanted to be with all his friends, right? In the Pete the Cat book, the brave Sir Pete. Just go to the last reading if you want to see. You can even skip ahead. Just skip. I put them in chapters, so just skip ahead to the Pete the Cat story. I promise you. I don't read Pete the Cat in any of my... This is a momentous occasion, right? I'm feeling it. Anyway, so this is the passage, because we're on to a new thing now, apparently. And this is why. Matthew 10:19, 17 through 20. And this is in the Message translation, if that matters to anybody. Don't be naive. Some people will question your motives. Others will smear your reputation. Just because you believe in me. Don't be upset. When they haul you before the civil authorities, without knowing it, they've done you and me a favor, given you a platform for preaching the kingdom news. And don't worry about what you'll say or how you'll say it. The right words will be there. The Spirit of your Father will supply the words, supply mother, source, you know, higher consciousness. Anyway, fucking beautiful, man. Through the internet. And then I will say, this book I've read recently, you should read it. It's about your own, fulfilling your own personal legend, was it? Something like that. But I was not going to ruin it for you, but a very key element in the story is that what you're seeking is within, essentially. And so seeking without creates this idea that what I need to fulfill me is external to me, which means we're not taking credit or ownership of the power that we have to do a very incredible thing. I've left some announcements that I think you should watch if you choose to watch. If you choose to watch, Harry, you are a wizard, with several exclamation marks behind it. I would suggest being at home, sitting down, like having eaten, you know, don't have anything wrong with your bod at the time. Maybe get under some covers. I can't stress that enough, honestly. Just handle with care. So in one of the announcements, I brought up methods for balancing energy. If you picture everything as a wheel, I think we skipped on, but yeah, see, we're still trying to figure this shit out, right? So if there's an idea, we're moving on again, but we'll go back to the wheel. There's an idea of your lizard brain having developed, can't say all the scientific names of it, but I'll describe it in the way this avatar, this, you know, body, what it's accumulated in knowledge thus far is able to present to you in a reasonable way. That is the lizard here. It is similar to the age of, you know, an infant, and it thinks in zeros and ones. It operates on zeros and ones like a computer. And so it's got, you know, yin and yang, or masculine and feminine, and they're moving back and forth. You can only operate those two things, but you need to create a balance. And again, the scientific theory behind this is something that I discovered. I left in a community post that I suggest you watch, Quantum something, and then probably one of my last community posts is also from this lady. But I'm going through personally and watching from beginning to end all of her videos. I will say that as a child, she mentioned that in Russia, she wasn't in a mystical community of any kind. And she, at a very young age, was practicing things to put you into higher states of consciousness, such as staring at the wall in one place until your vision opened up to everything with the same amount of detail, sort of an expansion sort of experience, doing throat singing, stuff like that. Anyway, she attributed it, I believe, to, having developed these practices somehow in a previous life. And I don't doubt it. Either that, or she's got some ancestors helping her out, if you want to put it that way, however you want to call it. This person was doing some mystical work as a child, and she would try and get her brother to do it, stare up at the wall and look at this image, and stare at it long enough. He didn't know what she was doing, and so she felt weird, eventually didn't do that anymore and fit in with other kids. Then eventually went through and studied a bunch of different practices of meditation in different types of religions all over the place, and discovered for herself a mechanism. And I would look at her theory for sure to get all the details straight, but a mechanism in everybody's minds physically, or I don't know, energetically at the very least, neuropaths maybe, I don't know what you would want to call it, but basically the lizard brain keeps the body safe. That's its job, right? So if it senses danger, everything's energy stays with the body. You need to be ready to fight or flight, that kind of concept. And so her method has to do with calming your body and making sure it's chill, and then taking and thinking that your mind, any type of word that you say, it automatically creates its opposite. So when we're thinking in terms of these zeros and ones of the lizard brain, or the yin and yang, or the masculine and feminine, that's what it's doing. It juggles these all day. That's its job. And some of us are very great at that, others not so much. Either way, none of that really matters. We're still all dealing with the lizard brain shit. And we're trying to create governments and societies doing that. And we're having a tough time, obviously. But the goal is to realize that to switch the energy buildup that rises in our bodies from that lizard brain, flip a switch and allow that to move up into the higher brain, where you can access quantum rather than digital consciousness, or whatever you want to call it. That's basically how she describes it. I relate that kind of an experience to a dream that I had, I want to say as a child, but it was maybe more like as a teenager, that I was in a house, and that the house was almost like an observatory. I think it started out as an A-frame, and then it either became clear or opened up like sort of an observatory. And then it was almost like I was giant on the earth or something, or the earth was small, but it was a small globe maybe that I was on, and it was like I was part of space. It didn't feel attached from space like we do. We look at the stars, yeah, but there's atmosphere and air and oxygen, whatever, birds, clouds, all that stuff between us, so we feel a little bit of separation there. I didn't feel that. I felt that I didn't have to go to any place really, but just looking at the stars, it was as if I was, to give a shout out, swimming through the void. That's what it felt like, a very much sensation of being connected to it all without even really having to try to do so. So anyway, I would suggest you attempt some of that stuff if you're having a hard time with the mystical or spiritual connotations of any of the stuff that I'm doing. If you want to just look at things purely from a physical neuro level, then definitely check her stuff out. Her channel is called Irida's Method, I believe. But I'll leave any of the stuff that I'm quoting here, I'll try and leave in the description box below. That way it's easy for people to go there. So basically, with thoughts in the quantum state, or the higher brain functioning, as much as I can gather thus far, things are done more by feel than anything, and it's super important to keep the body like this. I'm rocking in the chair, right? I'm trying to stay balanced. That kind of an idea, just smooth, calm, comfortable, like that yin and yang in the hexagrams we've been going through. There's an ideal balance. I think it's 63. That's kind of the ideal hexagram. And it's a perfect balance. It starts, I believe, with a strong foundation, the yang line that's all solid, then broken line, solid line, broken line, solid line, broken line. And I believe it's called settled, which is interesting. You know, it's stable. So with settled, that ideal placement of energy and balance, you want to call it the dark and the light. And that's why casting our shadow on others is such a problem, because it just shows that there's an imbalance there, is all it does. It means that we have an imbalance, and you can't come to every moment the same with an imbalance like that. It means that you're skewed in how you come to your reality. And if that's the case, then we're limiting ourselves, not really doing any good. We may be trying to protect ourselves, but often protecting turns into seizure and stuckness and being petrified wood right here. Nature provided this as well, right? So just take things at your own speed, I suggest. If you prefer to develop a very firm shield for yourself on something that has worked great for me, I would use the I Ching. You're welcome to watch this, or you can feel free to use your own internals and picture them as a wheel, and you are on the world tree, right? The tree of life, and let's say it's infinitely up and infinitely down. It's like a DNA strand maybe. Where I got this, I put this in an announcement as well, but I found out that there were several people that have had like shamanic visions of moving into the tree and taking up a space in the world tree, and there was infinite branches above them and infinite branches below, and there were other ancestors and things there. And so even if that's just a helpful visualization, whether that's reality or not, if you picture things like that tuned together, right, on like a DNA kind of level, where that's how, as above, so below, right? If that's how things are going, it's not difficult stretch of your mind to think that that might be what's going on with the above, if you want to call it that. But anyway, you want to have balance. So if you picture the zodiac wheel, or the Aztec calendar, or the Egyptian calendars, or any of the things that you could put into a wheel, you can put your entire concept of reality, future, past, just infinitely stretched out. Anything you could possibly imagine, let's say any kind of concept of multi-dimensions or anything like that. Put everything on a wheel. Just make sure it's all mapped out and plotted out on a wheel for you. You don't have to like have experienced any of these things. You're just making sure that everything's there. You're not hiding your shadow anywhere or anything like that. You're not worried about that. You're plotting out what exists in your mind as far as you understand the universe. And then you just want to make sure that it's well balanced. If you have something on, you know, this far side and it feels like it's causing things to wonk out for you, then just imagine what the opposite is on the other side. And you want to have that wheel spin smoothly. You know, it's up on this hollow tube with energy going through it, or breath potentially. This is just a visualization that I have had. So whether or not you can use your own, you know, you don't have to take mine, but feel free to use it if it's helpful. And then if this is how we all relate to each other quantumly, if quantum entanglement is a thing, which I definitely believe that it is, and feel like I can sense that without even having to believe anything. But if that's how that is functioning, then all of us really doing our best to keep balance is going to help, you know, our brothers and sisters and everybody, really, everything. Because if we can maintain some balance, if you picture you're doing this and you're balancing, then it'll be easier for us to get into a state where we're able to basically, at a certain point, flip a switch from the lower brain. There's also a middle brain developed about to the age of a teenager, I believe is what she said. And then the upper brain where we want to move that energy to. And you just take the concept of yin and yang built into Taoism of non-duality, where it's not this and it's not that. You bring them and you find out that well, they all source from one thing, which means all of this is one. And if time is an illusion, then there's only here and now. And that means that this could be really fun. Being able to discover our place in the universe, if you want to call it that, if that's, you know, wouldn't it be a lot more fun if we were able to access, you know, Pharaoh brain or whomever, you know, if they built the pyramids, they had some understanding that we may not have, and to stabilize their societies. Not to say that that was, you know, always that way, but however you want to look at it. Point is holy crap, right? The pyramids. Super intelligent dude. Nailed it. Let's move along. You get what I'm saying though. Balance out and make a decision. If you're having anxiety and stuff, I would suggest watching Ashley's videos. She has had a lot of that, and she's held the space for a lot of shadow. She's had a lot of trauma, she'll tell you herself. And she's a nurse, so she's constantly in situations that are triggering, to say the least. And very, very, very strong person. And I'm super proud of her, super excited. And I am proud of each and every one of you just for, I don't know, being here for one. And I mean, if you made it this far in the video, then thank you for that at the very least. But also, your commitment to a calling in yourself, to be here and now, and to experience life in terms of reality. Let's do an I Ching reading. Okay, we're gonna roll this one, but then I'm gonna do the staff spinning stuff. That's fun for me. You gotta let me have a little fun here. And it does feel protecty. So Rowan staves are in Druid and other like folk magic type systems, like a quickening tool. It's related to the sun and to Mercury, and also is supposed to be super protective. In fact, you can't cut it down and all that kind of stuff in particular ways, and only at particular times, I believe. And there's penalties, or have been, for doing so, to honor the sacredness of that tree. So this is 2 yins, 1 yang. Okay, my face is yang line. Whew. Sorry, this is maybe a little less meditative, but I feel more necessary to put an announcement in once in a while when it is called for. Jesus, this is hard. I feel like I lost. Okay. It's hard to coordinate both. That's what I anticipate trying to help develop, and including, especially, in myself. Feel protected. There's another protection. Blackthorn. This is Mars and Saturn. I couldn't handle blackthorn early on. I tried and my hand would start tingling. But it's very necessary. It's a cord cutting kind of thing. But when I find that I've had cords, you know, to someone or a situation, I can still cut them. That doesn't mean I have to eliminate people out of my life, but it means that that energy needs to be resolved in me. And if I do this little, you know, shamanic, imaginative practice, I can kind of just, you know, magically get rid of stuck energy in like a this puppy, I hope you feel that. That's serious business right there. That's another thing. I carry a lot of my magical tools with me, and I sleep with a lot of them right under my pillow or above my head. And I carry a lot of magical stuff that I've picked up in my pockets all the time. I'm connected with my wands with blood, you know, just for quantum entanglement, right? Since if you want to look at it any way you want, you can build your subconscious if you do a ritual or a ceremony or whatever you want, you're honoring something, and your subconscious recognizes that. So if you honor something that you feel you should honor, you should probably honor that. And if you create a ceremony of sorts out of it, whatever you want, it could be something that it inspires you to move forward with a ceremony. That can sometimes be the turning point from one grade to the next, or from a sense of victimhood to a sense of empowerment. So I hope you feel empowered knowing that I feel empowered. I feel like it's time to bring out the Tao. I don't think anyone knows about the Tao, but he's come with me through much of this as well. Oh yeah, he reminds me, I baptized this guy, right? Ashley and I were on a vacation, and we were by this river, and I dunked him and broke his beard off. It's glued together though. And anywho's, right, I got the blue hat too, imagine. So he's one quantum archon, possibly, something like that. Maybe connection to source. Look up Tao's history. You'll be fascinated by that. But I believe this to be a very, very powerful quantum connection. He's here too. I mean, I'm happy to share all my important connections. This is fun, right? I hope you're having fun. We're just opening up, right? We're letting it flow, right? Okay, so here's, I told you about the vision I had in one of the announcements on the shamanic journey, but that's a little, maybe not a Zuni fetish, but it's got turquoise eyes, and it's sacred to me. This is the panther I was telling you about in the announcement. Probably with me the longest as far as the shamanic experiences have gone. And the goat I told you about, right? Don't know how to make things focus well enough that it, yeah, take a good look. That's my shadow, bitches. What's yours look like? Hi. Please don't leave me out. I don't want to cry in your soul for eternity. I just want you to wake the fuck up. The shit I am being pulled into saying is obviously off character for me, so I hope you know that I don't even know what to say. I don't even know where I was going with that. Yeah, we shook the staff stuff, we did all that, so we're rolling coins again. Showed you the polar bear. I feel like that deserves more focus again. This is the latest. And holy smokes. I love you. Oh, we're gonna roll this, and then we're gonna explain one that I haven't showed you, which is pretty awesome. This does make this more entertaining, doesn't it? It was pretty dry before. You know, it was meditative, but I mean, it's like a lot of silence. You know, we'll probably get more into silence for those that like that. I know I like it at times, so don't think of what you're going to say. You know, you'll be given it in the moment. That's what the opening verse said, right? Old Yang will transform to Young Yin soon to give us a supporting hexagram. This here. So in that journey, an interesting thing that I found, went down with headphones playing binaural beats and shamanic sounds, and holding this when I first got it. I did like a breathe spirit into it kind of thing that I'd heard was done with idols or whatever back in the day. And so I did that, and I made a connection with it, and then we entered, in my visionary experience, the underworld, kind of like went down through a spiral staircase, and then there was the shamanic drums going on, and we were walking. It kind of was like a space with a grassy field in it, and we were walking into this field to the rhythm, and then we kind of just merged. And then we went in, basically, I don't know as what, but just merged into this pool of water. And then the pool of water started spinning and like draining down into a center point, and we went in down into a center point, and I felt as if I was going down into myself as well. And that animals and stuff started spinning around, like all kinds of animals. I remember turtles or a turtle, and I can't remember all this stuff, but it was pretty wild. And then I got down to this other level where it was really dark and narrow, kind of, and almost like a cave, and I couldn't really see anything. And it was like really wide, but kind of like narrow. And then lights started appearing within that space in different areas, like flickering small lights or something. And I can't remember the order of things. There was the whole thing about being confronted with a goat that looked like the satanic goat symbol with the upside down star on its face, really dark looking. And I was afraid of it, and it headbutted me, and then it turned into like a baby goat or something. It was definitely transmuted or what have you. Maybe it was mad at me for, shoving it down there and not letting free movement of energy. But there was this being or of sorts that had a white beard, and he was in the skin of a walrus. He had his face peering out from between the teeth, coming down over his head, and he had white hair, and I could tell he was ancient, but he looked very young. And he transformed into an old hag. And then she began mixing this pot, and I think I started feeling the swirling shit again. And then I think animals and stuff started spinning again. And I think the scorpion, I could read the actual account. I wrote it all down, but this is all just from memory. And I don't know if you can care to that detail. It was probably a little detailed already. So anyway, moving around with this stirring action. So it's like the idea of the androgen or the demiurge, possibly. I don't know, but the kind of divine principle of the, I want to use the Kabbalah, but I've forgotten what the two top ones are before the very top one. Something like that, but like in the underworld, right? And got stung by the scorpion, and a giant scorpion stung me, and I had a hawk come down, or an eagle, I don't know what it was, possibly an eagle now. It would make a lot of sense, right? And scooped me out of there. And then as we're flying up out of the pit, we were going over a mountain, and the goat I saw had followed me out and was on the mountain. And then we got up way up there, and we were like in the clouds and stuff, and then it felt like I was like getting tingly headed and like less like really focused on the details of the images and all that stuff, and more kind of like I was delivered to higher consciousness, if you want to, or God, yeah. So that's where this comes from. This one for me guards the west. Bear, actually, in Zuni, guards the west. Panther for me guards the south, or is the representation of that. The hawk here guards the east, and the goat guards the north. Boom, ba-doo, for me, but obviously You're welcome to plot your cosmos accordingly, however you see fit. All right, more rollings. Where are we at now? Probably lost some of you, but story time. Two tails, one head. Young yang. Jeez, I'm a lot less uptight, I'll tell you that. Feels nice, at least to that degree. It's just a partnership, right, between your quantum, your middle, and your lower brain. And to stabilize it, it's good to have a really good firm structure, which I've built. I've taken a long time to build this. And that's not what I knew I was doing the entire time. When I was a Christian, I had Logos Bible software, and it was you could do a Google search on like maybe close to 12 grand worth of books that I purchased on that platform. And researched, I even had like information from Mesopotamia and all kinds of cultures that was flowing through that. And when I accessed that energy, when I bought a book, it was like an energetic exchange. And so it felt like I was now, looking back, quantumly entangled with that energy. And so over the course of time, I've built up a lot of connections that I have a large internal universe in my mind. I even do it with buying books, just various anything, or like, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. And now I feel it, you know, through y'all. If you're doing readings and stuff and I watch your channel, that's, I can feel just like you can feel me, right? So things being, you know, coincidence, if we're just all kind of like connecting with similar energies and stuff and we're quantumly in that space, first thing we should have is the knowledge of that, to know that that's happening, and also some stabilization. So I hope that has been created. Definitely feel free to use this ladder to heaven, if that's what you want to call it, but that's what it feels like. It feels like a ziggurat or a pyramid, sort of. But I-ming is a very, very firm foundation to build on if you're trying to build something stable. And someone said, Black Swan activation. We're homies, big time homies. I love you. I hope you are watching this and know that. But I know that you are. You always react. Okay, anyway, she mentioned that. Now I've forgotten it. Maybe I'm just supposed to shout the fuck out to you. We'll think of it later, maybe. Lots of stories, I guess. Story hour. I've got to think of that, though, you know? Shit. Well, see, that's the thing. You're struggling. It's like a conversation probably between the teenager brain and the quantum. But that's why it's like not based on thought as much as like, Jesus, energy or sensation of energy. 3 heads. It's going to show you, right? Old yang. I hope this helps my posture. I feel very uptight a lot of the time. Yeah. Oh, maybe all are here. Just feel what this is like through me. This means business. I'm not lying to you. I had to train for a long time to be able to hold this thing for me. I know you can pick up a piece of blackthorn and be like, fuck. But you know what I'm saying. If you develop a quantum entanglement with something, it feels differently than if you don't recognize that, I suppose. I don't know how it all works. I just work here. That's a heart chakra one, by the way. I'll just start announcing those maybe. I put the description of all the stuff that I use on a regular basis, like these singing bowls down and what heart or what chakra they're related to. I put a lot of information in these description boxes for your edification. So I hope that you can take advantage of that if you see fit to do so. 2 heads, 1 tail. Yin yin. Building a cigarette. All right, what are we in store for? Even if the talking is like slightly disturbing, if you followed me for any length of time, all of this is going to be super soothing, so it probably doesn't even matter. Probably it's a nice change of pace for you. It is for me, I will say that. But no need to plan it all out. Probably the best thing to do is to flow and not have too much intention for anything and just see what happens, but try and stay balanced in your energy as you're doing so. 2 tails, 1 head. I feel like we're being respectful enough to the I Ching system by talking over its usage. I feel fine about it. Maybe that is comforting. Maybe you don't care. Either way. Yang Yang is that. All right. Beautiful. Ashley wanted me to read for you all. There's a Nightmare in My Closet by Mercer Mayer, same author of Where the Wild Things Are, I believe. Pretty sure that is. Okay, so you all saw that picture. There's a Nightmare in My Closet. This is sweet. Mariana, From Cotton to Rabbit. You're already used to really long videos. Just enjoy a children's story. Come on, right? All right. There used to be a nightmare in my closet. Before going to sleep, I always closed the closet door. I was even afraid to turn around and look. It's like his rocking horse is afraid as well. Or I'm afraid of his rocking horse. When I was safe in bed, I'd peek. Sometimes. Hope none of y'all are going through that, but if you are, hopefully this book is of help. You gotta get through the scary parts though. It's a children's book, it's gonna be okay. One night I decided to get rid of my nightmare once and for all. As soon as the room was dark, I heard him creeping toward me. Quickly, I turned on the light and caught him sitting at the foot of my bed. "Go away, nightmare, or I'll shoot you," I said. take a good hard look. I shot him anyway. My nightmare began to cry. I was mad, but not too mad. Nightmare, be quieter. You'll wake Mommy and Daddy, I said. He wouldn't stop crying, so I took him by the hand. And tucked him in bed. And closed the closet door. I suppose there's another nightmare in my closet, but my bed's not big enough for 3. What's all the Xi shit about? Fuck this guy got for us now. Crazy motherfucker. Alright. Let me tell you. Is this shit that I'm about to explain right here, and I've been explaining for a long goddamn time now. But I'll explain it again. Just because I know you love hearing me talk. I know you love it. Don't pretend you don't. Alright. Bottom trigram we are going to read as solid, solid, solid. That is Qian, heaven, Father, that trigram, and we will read from a beginner's I Ching commentary what that means. Qian is superhuman cosmic law. Enduring, he determines the nature and development of all things, from the movement of the stars to the cycle of the seasons, to causing each individual seed to grow into its own kind of plant. Heaven is creativity in its pure form, the force that drives change and what endures within it. He confronts us with truth and what it demands, both as absolute law of nature and as the challenge of individual calling, experienced as an inner law. He is both the awareness of what to do and how to be, and also the power to act on it. Heaven is Father, found in the northwest, the realm between autumn and winter, when the buds set and seeds fall to earth. Our top or outer trigram will be read as solid, broken, solid, which is Li, fire and light. Li is fire and light, both inner and outer. As an inner light, she is consciousness at its most lucid and unclouded, holding things together in the mind. If heaven is under a trigram, another trigram, it becomes super auspicious. I will have you know. And having heaven beneath fire and light, our primary hexagram is going to be a tasty piece, and that's where our changing lines are in. And so once we get to those are the most focused part of our reading. So it'll be cool to see in an already auspicious hexagram what the changing lines mean for us. And where were you reading? As an inner light, she is consciousness at its most lucid and unclouded, holding things together in the mind, perceiving their differences and connections, and discerning the underlying patterns of relationship. And as well as vision, Li is the light that makes things visible, the power to cast light on things, spreading clarity and the awareness of order. Li is the middle daughter, living in the south, the region of midsummer and the burning sun. Bajuya. Get some. I'm walking on sunshine. Oh. I wanted to sing the dawning of the age of Aquarius, but I don't know many lyrics. It is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius. Right? Ain't that what it is? All my freaking... I don't even know what it's called. Struggle wasn't meant to be said, I guess. can't even think of the term. It's disorienting. I will say that. I am disoriented. You're a little disoriented. You're in company of sorts. I wouldn't necessarily call it good, unless you're into this kind of, you know, dudes. What the fuck are we doing again? Oh, shit. Yeah, we're reading the Hexagram. God damn. All right, Li, fire and light above Qian heaven. Still looking for that term. The fuck is it, man? Come on. Somebody fucking hit me with the term. You know what I'm thinking of. Astrology. All my astrology people, you know? I know this age of Aquarius. Shut the fuck up. I know that much. The fuck is this guy? Li above Qian gives us Hexagram 14. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. He's not being very respectful of the I Ching. All right. You're not. Okay, you probably paused this or, I don't know, farted. Don't talk to me about being disrespectful, you motherfuckers. Once our changing lines change, changing line 2 and changing line 4, that will give us solid, broken, solid, and then broken, broken, solid. So solid, broken, solid is Li, fire, and light. We already read that trigram. And then broken, broken, solid is Xun? Nope, no, mountain. Gen, mountain. The mountain is still. It is a limit where you must stop. Gen brings each cycle to an end, defining a space where we can recognize, assimilate, and complete our experience. Right? Sincerely, though. I'm just saying, that's why this shit hits me on the level. He creates a personal still center amid change. And that's, you gotta have that, right? Everybody needs a personal still center amid change, where we can retreat for perspective and a firm foundation for new growth. He is well-grounded, confident, and of independent spirit. He is still and knows. Mountain is the youngest son, child of maturity. In the cycle of directions and seasons, he is the northeast, late winter approaching spring, and the pivot between cycles. Holding up the fort. Sometimes you gotta hold up a serious fort when it's collapsing down upon itself because the ridge pole is sagging. That's a hexagram. All right, what does this mean for us? What does it all mean, Basil? It is that Gen above Qian, heaven, is hexagram 26. Right. We didn't have, no, sorry, we had the sky, Li, fire, and light as the bottom one. That's it. And so then the top one's going to be Gen. Gives us 22. Whew, nice save. Just almost ended the world. You gotta be careful. I messed up an entire reading, an entire video, because I just totally botched everything. And the whole thing's built on that, right? A lot of pressure here. Everybody just calm yourselves down so Daddy can read his notes. Yes? Yeah, all right, we're good, we're solid. Everybody can breathe deeply. All right, we're gonna get our titles from the Taoist I Ching by I-ming, written in 1796 as Taoist adept. He is my homie. He makes a very alchemical rendering of the I Ching, which I love. 14, he calls great possession, mutual enhancement of strength and lucidity, continuous renewal, inward discipline. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. I fucking love you. Don't ever leave me. Gonna make love with this one. Great possession. Get inside me. 22. Adornment is our, ooh, that didn't sound bad either, as our supporting hexagram. Private cultivation without ostentation, or being showy or pretentious, I think is that. Mutual complementarity of clarity and stillness. Fucking what? You know? Just seriously. If you're not excited, I want to be rude and say go fuck yourself, but I won't do it. I would never tell you to go fuck yourself. But pay attention, this is really awesome. If I tell you to go fuck yourself, I'm telling me to go fuck myself, so why would I do that to myself? So much cursing in an I Ching reading, god damn. You gotta have some fucking respect, dude. I used to meditate to this shit. Great possession, right? And then adornment. That's pretty kick-ass titles. How can you go wrong with that? I feel like we nailed it. You think we nailed it? I think we nailed it. I don't know how to spell possession though, so doing the best we can with what we got. And adornment. Man, there's like gonna be no more silence. I'm just like airing all of my thoughts. Maybe people don't like silence anyway. I don't know what the fuck you guys like. What do you like, man? I'm not gonna like jump to your tune per se, but I'm happy to adjust. Just tell me what you like. Be like, hey, next time wear a fucking pink hat. That, I mean, probably have limits, but if that excites you, we could spice your life up a little bit. I'm happy to do so. Just, you know, let's talk. What the fuck are we doing again? God, what the hell? Great possession. We wrote them down. Moving next into reading them from Hilary Barrett's I Ching. Man, super unprofessional. This is so not like me. I hope you know that. I really, really apologize if I'm offending anyone. I have nothing but the highest regard and just having fun, you know? Everybody needs to settle down. 14, great possession. Buckle up. Jesus, it's cold. Doing this in a garage in winter. Jesus fucking Christ. Hexagram 14, great possession. Key questions. Given all you have, who will you be? How can you affirm and support what is good? Oracle. Great possession. From the source. Creating success. I like the sound of it. I think we made it, guys. Pretty think we made it. I pretty think it. I pretty done thunk that thought. Right there. I done thunked it. Oracle, great possession from the source, creating success. Great possession means you are rich. Don't you love that? Like mirrors you in a little bit. Maybe in material goods, maybe in less tangible assets like knowledge, wisdom, power, energy, talent, or relationships. Whatever form it takes, you have something real and potent in your possession. The Chinese word for possession also means there is. So this is great being as well as great having. What there is and what you are as well as what you have. The ancient form of the character shows an outstretched hand which may hold an offering. To possess is to offer. What you have is, by definition, what you can give. And what you have and can give is great. This is pure potential, an opening to the source, and a promise of abundant energy ready to enter into circulation and become creatively active. Thank all your gods, right? Thank you. I see you, universe. hold space for you. Image 5. Wow, yeah. Fire dwells above heaven, great possession. A noble one ends hatred and spreads the good. She yields to heaven and rests in her mandate. The stars move in their courses in accordance with natural law. A noble one has an inner awareness of creative reality and carries this through into insight and clarity in living. The greatness of the cosmos is that it works as it should, and so her task is quite simple: to allow it to be, remove obstacles, and work with it. Hatred would only waste energy resisting reality. Spreading the good aligns with the natural order. The sun does not struggle to rise in the sky, it just rises. In the same way, because a noble one assents to what is and yields to heaven, she can rest in her work. Sequence. Great possession follows from Hexagram 13, people in harmony. Reaching out to people in harmony means beings truly return home, and so great possession follows. It's hard when it's like slapped in your face, you know, a little bit. It's not hard, it's just shocking, like a lot. It's like a lot. But you can, you know, settle things down with just visualizations. I'm out in the cold, so don't take my shivering. You got to take care of your physical form. Just make sure, you know, you're comfy, cozy. You got to treat it like a baby. You can tell the baby you're safe, stuff like that. That's that Irida's method stuff. Great shit, look it up. Sequence. Great possession follows from Hexagram 13, people in harmony. Reaching out to people in harmony means beings truly return home, and so great possession follows. With harmony, beings come into their right places. True relationships form, and a flow of exchange, of having and giving is set in motion. Exchange is wealth, and so great possession follows. The emergent power of a relationship, always greater than the sum of its motherfucking parts. He needs to get way better at ringing, singing bells. It's true. It's very true. Very, very true. I also could use nicer ones, but, you know, use what you got. Works for you, right? So 14, and then our supporting hexagram puts our primary hexagram in a broader context and influence the direction of travel and an underlying issue that has to do with you and your relationship to it all. Hexagram 22 is, it's got to be the most entertaining, aside from the one before this, I-ming reading I've ever performed. Hexagram 22, beauty. Key questions. How can you make the essence visible to others? What do you choose to communicate? Look at this freaking beautiful picture, man. My people is a beauty. I love it. You see what I'm saying? There's the sound. Okay. Key questions. How can you make the essence visible to others? What do you choose to communicate? Oracle. Beauty, creating success. Small yield from having a direction to go. This is about natural beauty, like the beauty of a plant, whose form is the perfect, simple expression of its nature. It's also about the way people create images to communicate something of a person's or thing's inner nature. This becomes a fruitful way to engage with the world when you have a purpose in mind, like someone who becomes a suitor for the sake of his bride, or a figure of authority for the sake of those she teaches. This is an image created for the sake of communication and relationship, as a first step towards a chosen destination. Yet it only bears a small yield because it is only a first small step. Becoming something for someone is not sufficient to bring about significant results on its own. It's not the same as wholehearted conviction or ultimate fulfillment. No created image could ever express a whole person. So this is not a time to concentrate on results. It's a time for imaginative, lively exploration of beautiful ways the essence could flower and be seen. Feeling a bit of flowering myself. Open my skull cap. Image. Below the mountain is fire, beauty. A noble one brings light to the many standards, but does not venture to pass judgment. Perhaps the firelight is flickering over the rock face, creating shifting patterns of light and dark. Or perhaps this is the volcanic fire inside a mountain, still dynamically shaping what appears so solid and established from the outside. The inner light of awareness shines through the outer form, so a noble one sees all the standards, all the ways the world is governed and ordered from the inside. He understands how things are defined and how standards arise, and how many forms the inner essence can take. Oh my God. So where could he possibly stand to pass judgment? Don't know if I understand that. Sequence. Beauty follows from hexagram 21, biting through. Things cannot carelessly unite and be completed, and so beauty follows. Beauty means adorning. Merely bringing things together is not enough to create true unity. Just getting to the truth is not an end in itself. These things will have no real presence in the world. No one will be able to see or relate to them until they are fully and carefully expressed. Good fucking thing somebody went about and did that for quite some time now. Feel free to see all of those. Just saying. I love you. Made some preparation. Thought it was maybe just for me, but turns out we all need this shit. Even if it's boring. Go fuck yourselves. You know, to me. I'm you, you're me, whatever it all means. We're all just working here. Okay, we're going to go to our changing lines 14. And the hexagram 14, changing lines 2 and 4, which have general context to them. The changing lines are our most focused part of the reading. They put a pin in the map to say you are here, or at least here are some places you may find yourself. They are the most, I said that, they take precedence over all other elements. So 2 and 4, line 2 has the general context of the heart's perception, the emotional center, where you make and feel connections. Changing line 4 is the capacity for action, asking how the work can be done. Very great questions. When we come to the I Ching to consult the oracle, the general context of the question we bring will always be, how can I act in creative relation with the spirits or forces shaping this moment of time? Don't know why that came up, but do I really need to know? Line 2, a great chariot to carry loads, with a direction to go, no mistake. A great chariot is big enough to move great possessions, carrying you and your life to a new place. This should be used to move on. The only mistake would be to stay in the same place, imagining that you're stuck. Clarify where you are and what you have, and how this enables you to travel onward. Hold a vision in mind of where you want to arrive and set out to explore. Changing line 4. I told you it was going to be good auspice stuff. You don't need to worry. I'll let you know when I know. And I know a little bit. Come on, give me some fucking credit. Come on, Jesus Christ. Line 4. It is not for you to dominate, no mistake. It is not for you to dominate this situation. Trying to get everyone and everything to march to the loud beat of your drum is not necessary, and the attempt would most likely to be counterproductive. Both you and the situation will be fine, even when you are not in control.
It's just like, what the fuck, dude?
Naturally, you will want your gifts to be fully expressed and used, but it could be more productive in the long run to master those gifts so you can apply them more discriminately, in a way that fits the situation and communicates well with others. This allows you to grow into a personal strength which has very little to do with being dominant.
Ain't that the goddamn truth? Shit. Fucking brilliant, man. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, James Dekorne. Let's get into James Dekorne. He's a practitioner of the Tao. God, my fucking feet are so cold. My hands and feet are cold.
He is a saint in that, if by saint you mean he is a practitioner of the Tao who has really done extensive study into Western esotericism and Eastern esotericism. And man, he's got so much knowledge just dripping out of his pores. And he delivers it in a very esoteric kind of way where you can like, whoa, man. I was just reading dictionaries. Now all of a sudden you're like dropping some esoteric knowledge up my brain holes. The fuck, I don't know who's talking right now. Who's in control of this ship? 14, great possession. Yeah, it's really not that scary. It's just discombobulating. I'm discombobbled over here. Wealth is what James Dekorne calls our primary hexagram. Other titles: possession in great measure, the symbol of great possession, sovereignty, great having, great possessing, the great possessor, great wealth. Is that what you said before too? Something like that. Abundance, having what is great. A quote from D.F. Hook: often means things other than material possessions or achievement. Count your blessings, for they are many. Judgment. Leg. Wealth means great progress and success. Wilhelm/Baines. Possession in great measure, supreme success. Blowfold. He who possesses much, supreme success. Lu. Great possessions, great success. Ritzema Karcher. Great possessing, spring growing. This hexagram describes your situation in terms of your relating. This hexagram describes your situation in terms of your relation to an overriding concern or central idea. It emphasizes that organizing all your efforts around this idea is the adequate way to motherfucking handle that shit. Slofnacy, the great possession, prime receipt. The image, leg, fire over heaven, the image of wealth. The superior man represses evil and nurtures virtue in accordance with the benevolent will of heaven. Wilhelm/Baines, fire in heaven above, the image of possession in great measure. Thus the superior man curbs evil and furthers good, and thereby obeys the benevolent will of heaven. Blowfold, this hexagram symbolizes fire in the heavens. When the trigram for heaven is above, whatever is below may be separated from it. When it is below, it indicates fusion or intermixture with what is above. All alchemical shit is happening in this. The significance here is that the splendor of a very great man lights up the heavens. The superior man suppresses those who are evil and upholds the virtuous. Most gladly he accords with heaven and carries out its commands. Internal process shit's going on in all of this stuff, I'll have you know. So just apply all this as above, so below, man. Lu, fire over heaven symbolizes great possession. The superior man suppresses evil and honors virtue, and thus follows the will of heaven and waits upon destiny. Ritzema/Karcher, fire located above heaven, great possessing. A Chun-Tzu or chief son or superior person uses terminating hate to display improvement. A Chun-Tzu uses yielding to heaven to relinquish fate. God damn it, man. Oh man, it's just hard not to read every little one of these. Cleary 1, fire is in the sky, great possession. Thus does the superior person stop evil and promote good, obeying heaven and accepting its order. Cleary 2, leaders obey nature and accept its order by stopping the bad and promoting the good. Wu, fire above and heaven below form great wealth. Thus the Chun-Tzu suppresses the evil and promotes the good. He abides by the will of heaven to enrich his life. commentary, Confucius/Leg. Wealth shows the magnetic line in the central ruler's place. That's the broken line, that's the open line. Usually, I believe, the ruler fifth line, the yang line or the solid line is usually auspicious. So it's interesting. The figure is composed of the trigrams of strength and clarity. The central line of clarity responds to the central line of strength. Oh, nope. Sorry, strength was the bottom trigram. So yeah. No, what the fuck? It's open. Who cares? It is, the first thing I said is true. Here, however, everything is against that. Where was I? I know that I'm skipping around here. Oh, yeah. The central line of clarity responds to the central line of strength, eventuating in timely action. This indicates great progress and success. We got here. Fucking, feels nice. Enjoy it after the reading. I want to enjoy it now. Leg. Wealth means great havings and symbolizes a kingdom, family, or individual in a state of prosperity. The danger in such a position arises from the pride it is likely to engender. Here, however, everything is against that. The place of honor is occupied by a magnetic line so that the ruler will be humble, and all the dynamic lines will respond to her with sympathetic allegiance. The ruler's seat is in the central position of the trigram of clarity, and hence her strength is directed by intelligence, and all her actions are timely like the seasons of heaven. In my community post, one of the things that stood out, now it's yesterday, was someone said, our hostess at Lombardi's, a really fancy Italian restaurant where we live, right on the water. I jumped in the water. I was going to say that in my whole long speech. When we were there, we walked out on the dock and I jumped into the water. I wanted to commemorate these times that we are having that are so blessed. Blessed are these times. Thankful to live in these times. Things are changing for the good. Feel that. So fucking grateful. We're gonna be okay, y'all. We're gonna be fine. It's cool. It's cool. Chill out, man. Universe got it handled and shit. Got that shit handled. Got it on lock. The ruler's seat is in the central position of the trigram of clarity, and hence her strength is directed by intelligence, and all her actions are timely, like the seasons of heaven. That's what the quote was. All 4 seasons in one day. That's what I'm feeling like right now. Fire above, the sky shines far, symbolizing the vastness of the territory of wealth. To develop virtue and repress evil is in accordance with the will of heaven, which has given to all men a nature fitted for goodness. Clearly, too, all states of being have this essence inherent in them and are indeed made of this essence. But all states other than that of complete enlightenment are out of harmony with this essence in some way. Buddhahood is when you accord with this essence. Woo. As the sun shines brightly high in the sky, both the good and the bad will be exposed. The responsibility of the Chunzi, or chief son or superior person, is to discriminate between them. He acts in accordance with the nature of goodness, the will of heaven, to enrich his life. Notes and paraphrases. Judgment. The greatest kind of wealth accrues from furthering the work. The superior man manages his forces in accordance with the goals of the work. Wealth is the inverse of the preceding figure, union of forces. If the 13th hexagram depicts a process of uniting, the 14th might be seen as the completion of that process. To have one's inner forces correctly united is indeed possession in great measure, which is the title that Wilhelm gives to this figure. It is emphasized in the image that this wealth must be administered in accordance with the benevolent will of heaven, which is to say, the principles of the work must always guide one's choices if one is not to lose equilibrium and become pauperized by illusion. A quote by Chaltun E. The superior man considers a rich possession of moral principles to be honor and peace in his person to be wealth. Okay then. Hexagram 22, our supporting hexagram, will provide a broader context for our primary hexagram. It gives us an influence and a direction of travel and an underlying issue that has to do with us and our relationship to it all. Persona is what this one's called. Wow, I have not feel like I've ever run into that. At least in this James Dekorne stuff. I've put the links to James Dekorne stuff in my description box. I'm telling you, I'm trying to pump that up for you. This is juicy. Nice stuff in there. Gotta check that shit out. Persona. Other titles. Grace, the symbol of decoration, elegance, gracefulness, luxuriance, adorning, public image, adornment, beauty, conceit, vanity, veneer, facade, manners, embellishment, superficiality, superficial appearances, form versus function. A quote from D.F. Hook. Art, ego trips, often refers to conceit, vanity, or beauty. It stresses that the content is more important than the outward appearance. That indeed. Call me ugly, you son of a bitch. Judgment. Leg. Persona should be given its due, but there is no advantage in allowing it to advance and take the lead. Yeah, man. Don't let your ego take charge, or your concern with how you look to others. Wilhelm/Baines, grace has success. In small matters, it is favorable to undertake something. Blofeld, elegance, success. Some small advantage can be derived from having a particular goal or destination. The implication is that the advantage is not sufficient to make it worthwhile to seek that goal or destination unless no special difficulty or inconvenience is involved. The arrangement of the lines in this hexagram is very similar to that in the previous one, but it is adjudged much more suitable. The general idea is that, like nature, we should conform to a regular and well-ordered pattern of behavior which, since we are human beings and not mere animals, involves a high degree of refinement. From the point of view of divination, it would seem that this is a time to watch carefully so as to learn how those involved in the situation think and behave, the better to influence them for the good when the opportunity arises. Beautiful. Lou, gracefulness. I want to shout out to Ram's son. Brother, I love you, man. I hope you know that. I hope you're watching as well. Slothnacy, luxuriance, receipt. A little beneficial to have someplace to go. Y'all help me. You help me loosen up. That's why I gave a shout out to Black Swan Activation. Dude, she reminds me of my mom or people in my family for sure in that, God, just so make me feel comfortable. You know what I mean? I can be in my own skin and it's okay. Like, Jesus, thank you for that. A lot of y'all helped me in a great way. And Ram's son, dude, you just got that. You're just in it. You're just in that spot, man. You just feel that spot out. You're just so there. Just very much appreciate y'all. There's so many more. And if it comes to me, I'll definitely shout you out. Just to let you know that. Appreciate all you motherfuckers. Ritsuma/Carter, adorning, growing, the small, harvesting, possessing, directed going. This hexagram describes your situation in terms of its outward presentation. A big shout out to Witch Inside, by the way. Fucking love you. This hexagram describes your situation in terms of its outward... And if you don't know already, God damn it. I'm sorry. It'll come to me later. What the fuck is this guy doing? What am I doing? Ritsuma slash Karcher, adorning, growing, the small, harvesting, possessing, directed, going. This hexagram describes your situation in terms of its outward presentation. It emphasizes that building intrinsic value by embellishing appearance and displaying valor is the adequate way to handle it. I could not have arrived here without Eye of the Serpent Tarot. She saw me coming before anybody else that I'm aware of. And then also, God damn it, don't even know. It's like fourth portal. You know who you are. I'm sorry, I just don't always read your title, but you saw me next and definitely appreciate you. Big time. Portal to fourth dimension, I believe, with a 4. Probably gonna like put links in the Dealy Boxy. And then Eternal Angel. I put a community post of hers. She just had an awakening experience as well. Go into the community posts of mine and check hers out. Please do yourself a favor and listen to her stuff. Please do that. Please do it for your own sake. Ritsuma slash Karcher, adorning, growing, the small, harvesting, possessing, directed, going. This hexagram, I had to have read this. This hexagram describes your situation in terms of its outward presentation. It emphasizes that building intrinsic value by embellishing appearance and displaying valor is the adequate way to handle it. Slothnacy, luxuriance, receipt, a little beneficial to have someplace to go. Cleary, adornment is developmental. It is beneficial to go somewhere in a minimal way. Cleary, 2. Adornment is successful. It is beneficial to go somewhere in a small way. Woo, adornment is pervasive and shows small advantage of an undertaking. Adornment does not change the nature of what it adorns, but merely makes what it adorns appear more attractive. In other words, the change is mostly superficial but not substantive. The image, leg, fire at the foot of the mountain, the image of persona. Thus the superior man adorns his rule with grace, but makes important decisions in conformance with higher laws. Wilhelm slash Baines, fire at the foot of the mountain, the image of grace. Thus does the superior man proceed when clearing up current affairs, but he dare not decide controversial issues in this way. Sound advice. Blowfold. This hexagram symbolizes fire at the foot of a mountain, the superior man desiring to ensure the enlightened functioning of the various departments of state, dare not make light decisions regarding legal matters. The component trigrams, fire below mountains, suggests a brilliance which cannot be perceived from afar. The Chinese commentators go on to suggest that this symbolizes a firm and somewhat severe exterior which hides brilliance and the beauty within. For purposes of divination, this should be taken as a pattern for our comportment in the matter at issue. It's like, do that in your situation. Be as this. Lu, fire illuminates the base of the mountain, symbolizing gracefulness. Thus, the superior man clarifies ordinary affairs, but does not judge lawsuits. Ritsuma slash Karcher, below mountain, possessing fire, adorning. A Chunsu, or chief son, or superior person, uses brightening the multitudinous standards without daring to sever litigation. Yeah, I'm not trying to sever ties, just trying to sever inner ties that stop us from experiencing our oneness with reality. Cleary 1. There is fire below the mountain, adorning it. Thus do superior people clarify governmental affairs without presumptuous adjudication. What superior people see in this is that just as the light of a fire below a mountain is not great, when people are lacking in capacity, their vision is not far-reaching. Therefore, the superior people administer and clarify the simple matters of governmental affairs and do not act presumptuously in difficult matters of adjudication. Not judging presumptuously thus has the meaning of respect for life. Wu, there is fire at the foot of the mountain. This is adornment. The Chunsi, or chief son or superior person, brings openness to administering civil affairs, but refrains from judging cases in criminal litigation. Commentary, Confucius slash Leg. In persona, we see the magnetic central line ornamenting the dynamic lines of the lower trigram. And hence it is said that ornament should have free course. On the other hand, the dynamic top line ornaments the magnetic lines. It's like Christmas, all upon our trigram or hexagram. On the other hand, the dynamic top line ornaments the magnetic lines of the upper trigram, and hence it is said that there will be a little advantage if ornament is allowed to advance and take the lead. The elegance and intelligence of the lower trigram is regulated by the restraint of the upper trigram. This suggests the observances which adorn human society. We observe the ornamental figures of the sky and thereby ascertain the changes of the seasons. We observe the ceremonial customs of society and understand how transformation is accomplished in the world. Leg, persona. Persona is the symbol of what is ornamental and of the act of adorning. As there is adornment in nature, so should there be in society. But its place is secondary to that which is substantial. Like, get over yourselves already, goddammit. The Kongasi editors say that the magnetic line coming and ornamenting the two dynamic lines in the lower trigram shows how substantiality should have the benefit of ornamentation. In other words, what's substantial should be ornamented. The dynamic line ornamenting the two magnetic lines in the upper trigram shows how ornamentation should be restrained by substantiality. Ornament has its use, but it should be kept in check. The figures of the sky are all the heavenly bodies in their relative positions in various movements, producing day and night, heat and cold, etc. The observances of society are the ceremonies and performances which regulate and beautify the inner course of men. Not, you know what I mean? The feeling of the beautifying, the whole thing, not the word intercourse, perverts. Jesus, I was explaining myself to a bunch of pervs. Can you just chill? A mountain, says Chengzu, is a place where we find grass, trees, and 100 other things. Or a goat in my case, right? A fire burning below it throws up its light and brings them all out in beauty. This gives the idea of ornament or being ornamented. The various processes of government are small matters, and elegance and ornament help their course. But great matters of judgment demand the simple, unadorned truth. Don't they, though? Notes and paraphrases, judgment. There's nothing wrong with showing a little style, but don't become so identified with a role that it makes your decisions for you. There's nothing wrong with showing a little style, but don't become so identified with a role that it makes your decisions for you. The superior man displays wit and charm when that is appropriate, but relies upon shrewd discernment when making serious choices. Confucius points out the correct attitude for this hexagram in his third sentence. The elegant intelligence or brilliant wit of the lower trigram is being sat on by the mountain of the upper trigram. Brilliant wit is often just an ornament, to make one look clever in the company of others. Like seasoning on food, a little bit of persona or ornamentation is life-enhancing, but too much curry powder overwhelms the meal. Jung's conception of the persona points out the fact that it is a major vehicle for the complexes to express themselves under the guise of social interaction. Oh, wow. Quote from Jung, the relations between the ego and the unconscious. The persona is only a mask for the collective psyche, a mask that feigns individuality and tries to make others and oneself believe that one is individual, whereas one is simply playing a part in which the collective psyche speaks. Oh my God. For an urban shipping clerk to wear cowboy clothes may be a legitimate expression of his personality, or it may be the only outlet available for repressed portions of his psyche. When he begins driving a pickup truck and frequenting country western bars, we might suspect that his role is playing him his role is playing him, and the real self is being masked by excessive ornamentation or persona. A quote from Elizabeth Hayek in Initiation. The person cannot be more than an instrument for the manifestation of the self, but people get so attached to their mask that they cannot free themselves from it anymore. They make a king out of the servant and separate themselves from their true being. They force their higher self into exile, into the unconscious. To receive this hexagram without changing lines suggests that perhaps you are more focused on form than meaning, or that superficial appearances are concealing something more substantial in the situation. Look deeper. What's really going on? Wealth. Hexagram 14, we'll read our changing lines 2 and 4, and they have the general contexts of line 2. The heart's perception, the emotional center where you make and feel connections, and line 4, the capacity for action, asking how the work can be done. And this puts a pin in the map to say you are here, or at least here are some places you may find yourself. This is the most focused part of the reading, takes precedence over all of the other elements. Line 2, leg. The second line dynamic shows a large wagon with its load. In whatever direction advance is made, there will be no error. Wilhelm/Baines. A big wagon for loading. One may undertake something. No blame. Blowfold. There are large supply wagons. Apparently, we need not fear failure through lack of resources. That's awesome. If there is some desired goal or destination, setting out to attain it will involve no error. Lou. Loading the big wagon, undertaking without blame. One can expect to achieve his undertaking and acquire property. Ritzema/Karcher. The great chariot used to carry, possessing directed going without fault. Wu. To haul in a cart to a certain destination is without fault. Commentary. Confucius/Leg. This refers to the virtue accumulated by the subject of the line, so that he will suffer no loss in the conduct of affairs. Wilhelm/Baines. Accumulating in the middle, thus no harm results. Blowfold. Some place where supplies have been accumulated will escape from danger. Ritzema/Karcher. Amassing, centering, not destroying indeed. That's good news as well. Cleary 2. If the load is balanced, you will not fail. Well, I'm going to tell you about balancing your loads. I've been saying that. Can you hear me say that? Gotta hear me say it. Wu. Means to accumulate at the center with no failure. Leg. The dynamic second line has his proper correlate in the fifth line ruler of the figure and will subordinate his strength to his humility. Notes and paraphrases. Su. Accumulated virtues and competent helpers enable the man to assume great responsibilities, which is what we're probably going to need. Like a huge wagon ready for loading, he subordinates strength to humility. Wing. You not only have tremendous resources to work with, but you also possess the wherewithal to coordinate these assets and make them work for you. Such ingenuity will allow you to fearlessly attempt ambitious endeavors. Editor. A wagon is a vessel which contains something as well as a vehicle which can go somewhere. Thus, the image suggests the power to accomplish a task or reach a goal. A quote from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I am super sorry if I butchered the shit out of that. If a man worships his self only as his true state, his work does not perish. For whatever he desires, that he gets from that self. James Dekorne has broken down changing line 2 into 3 possible succinct definitions, A, B, and C. A is the image favors progress in furthering the work. B is a receptive vehicle. And C is an accumulation of virtue permits progress. Oh yeah, cruising on down to line 4. Asking how the work can be done. The fourth line dynamic shows its subject keeping his great resources under restraint. There will be no error. Wilhelm/Baines. He makes a difference between himself and his neighbor. No blame. Blowfold. Pride is not involved. No error. Lou. He distinguishes between himself and his friends. This brings no blame. It's crazy. Ritzema/Karcher. In no way one's preponderance without fault. Slofnacy. It is not his fullness. There is no trouble. Cleary 1. Repudiate self-aggrandizement, and there is no fault. Cleary 2. Negating self-inflation. There is no blame. Wu. He who keeps his strength under restraint will not be humiliated. Commentary. Confucius/Leg, his wisdom discriminates clearly what he ought to do. Wilhelm/Baines, he is clear, discriminating, and intelligent. Blofeld, implies the possession of very great discriminatory powers, such as the power to recognize how very little of our success is really due to our own merits. Ritzema/Karcher, brightness differentiating clearly indeed. Cleary, because the understanding is clear. Wu, because he exercises clear discriminations. Leg, the strength of line 4 is tempered by his position in the magnetic place, hence he will do no injury to the mild ruler just above him. Notes and paraphrases. Su, the man discriminates clearly what should be done. He keeps his strength under control, yields not to competition and envy, and does not injure the mild ruler. Wing, quell your pride and envy, and do not attempt to compete with others or emulate those in power. Give your full attention to the business at hand, and you will avoid mistakes. Anthony, when we argue, we engage and compete with other people's inferiors. We should remain disengaged. Even when we mentally argue with or inwardly look at the problem, we remain engaged, thinking of ways to deal with their inferiors. Such looking to the side causes us to deviate from our own direction. Editor, Wilhelm and Liu both render this line in terms of making a distinction between oneself and others. The distinction to be made is to see the difference between the minister in line 4 and the ruler in line 5, i.e., don't overstep your authority or aspire above your proper place. The line can also refer to codependence to other people's illusions. You have your own unique path to follow. You cannot acquiesce to the unenlightened expectations of others without doing damage to yourself, to them, and to the work. Choices like this are often extremely painful. This, however, does not absolve the aspirant from doing what the work demands. A quote from the Bhagavad Gita 3:35, better is one's own dharma though imperfectly performed than the dharma of another well performed. Better is death in the doing of one's own dharma than the dharma of another is fraught with peril. Oh, I'm going to read that part again. Better is death in the doing of one's own dharma. The dharma of another is fraught with peril. And then James Dekorne breaks changing line 4 down into 3 possible definitions, A, B, and C. A, follow your own path and let others follow theirs. B, the situation calls for discrimination and restraint. C, differentiate the difference between a superior and an inferior element in the situation.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna do this too.
The Tao Te Ching, no. The Taoist I Ching by I-ming, written in 1796 as he was a Taoist adept. Translated by Thomas Cleary. Primary hexagram 14, he calls again great possession. In great possession are creation and development. Explanation. Great possession means greatness of possession. As for the qualities of the hexagram, above is fire, luminous, and below is heaven, strong. Acting strongly with lucidity, producing understanding in the midst of strength, growing increasingly illumined as strength increases, growing increasingly strong as illumination increases. It is therefore called great possession. This hexagram represents wealth with daily renewal, governing the inward with strictness. It follows on the previous hexagram, obstruction. In obstruction, yin energy acts while yang energy retires. One accepts the false and loves the real. One accepts the false and loses the real, obstructing the openness of consciousness, becoming darker and darker daily until the original celestial virtues are completely gone. If you want to restore celestial qualities, producing something where there is nothing, it cannot be done but for the path of strength and illumination. What is strength? It is the moment of pure truth, adamantly strong and unbending. What is illumination? It is illumining myriad things with the open consciousness undimmed. If one can be strong, the mind is firm and the will far-reaching, cultivating every appropriate path and establishing every virtue, having such wealth and abundance. If one can be lucid, one can discern principles clearly and thoroughly, seeing surely with real knowledge, taking to whatever is good, reforming every fault, being daily renewed. Once one is strong and lucid, one has inner autonomy and cannot be moved by anything. This is real, true practice. It is like the sun being in the sky, its light shining on everything, covering everything. Nothing can deceive it. Yellow sprouts cover the earth, golden flowers bloom throughout the world. Wherever one may walk, everywhere is the Tao. With the greatness of possession and the far range of action, nothing started fails to develop. Power in that shit. And so it is. Adornment 22. Our supporting hexagram puts our primary hexagram in a broader context and influence a direction of travel, an underlying issue that has to do with you and your relationship to it all. Adornment is developmental. It is beneficial to go somewhere in a minimal way. Explanation. Adornment means beautification. As for the qualities of the hexagram, above is mountain, still, and below is fire, luminous. Clear about where to rest, resting in what is clarified, one naturally clarifies illumination and rests in the highest good. Therefore, it is called adornment. This hexagram represents hidden practice and secret cultivation. It follows on the previous hexagram, observing. Observing is the path of spiritual clarity and alert observation. Gradually progressing along with time, alert and observant, one turns the awareness around to look within. Wise yet appearing ignorant, adept yet appearing inept, one stabilizes clarity so that clarity develops and understands stopping and stilling so as to rest in the appropriate place. Clarity and stillness adorn each other, thus clarity is not misused and stillness does not degenerate into quietism. Clarity is the body of stillness. Stillness is the function of clarity. Thus, clarity is not the body of stillness. Thus, clarity is not damaged and stillness is correct. So clarity and stillness are developmental. Although clarity and stillness adorn each other, one should value still clarity. Still clarity is not empty in action that does not use illumination at all, but while one is illumined within, one does not show it outside. One rests in clarity and does not rest where it is unclear. Clarity is within stillness. One does not lightly use the clarity of illumination. This is the meaning of self-minimization. Minimizing oneself, one is prudent and cautious, getting rid of intellectualism, inwardly preserving clarity of spirit. With open awareness that is unclouded, one cannot be moved by anything. There is much benefit in this, but minimization that is too extreme is stillness without illumination. It is not the form of union of clarity and stillness that this hexagram represents. How could it be developmental or beneficial? Stillness means resting in the highest good, being tranquil and imperturbable. Clarity means clarifying the quality of illumination, being sensitive and effective, uncontrived when quiet, creative when active, clear in stillness, tranquilly employing illumination, attaining it in the mind and proving in it affairs. Only then is it called true stillness and true clarity. When the text here says it is beneficial to go somewhere, this simply means that this is the way to test and prove this stillness and clarity. When ordinary people have no concerns, their minds are clear and they know where to rest. But when they have matters to attend to, they get muddled and confused and don't know where to rest. If one can be still by virtue of clarity, thereby to nurture illumination, and can be clear by virtue of stillness, thereby to master illumination, clarity and stillness will not be restricted and can be used according to the time. Planting lotuses in fire, hauling a boat through mud and water, the ineffable being of one spirit pervading the universe, clear in stillness and resting in the place to rest. Mm. 14. You're supporting Hexagram. We will read changing lines 2 and 4. Changing lines are our most focused part of the reading. They put a pin in the map to say you are here, or at least here are some places you may find yourself. They take precedence over all other elements. And the general context of changing line 2 is the heart's perception, the emotional center where you make and feel connections. And changing line 4 is the capacity for action, asking how the work can be done. This is going to be the more focused on alchemical, especially when we get later to the, well, this whole book, I mean, the commentary as well. Changing line 2 of Hexagram 14, Great Possession. 2. Using a great car for transport. When there is a place to go, there is no fault. Explanation. When firm strength is balanced and one already has inner abundance, this is like using a large car for transport, able thereby to bear the weight. One can thus avoid injury by external things. But when virtue is mastered within, it should be evidenced outwardly. Only if there is a place to go, passing lightly through events and situations unperturbed, is it really great possession, impeccable inwardly and outwardly. This is already possessing, requiring external effectiveness. Changing line 4. Repudiate self-aggrandizement, and there is no fault. Explanation. When one is imbued with both strength and illumination, having strength but not presuming on it, having brilliance but not using it aggressively, this is repudiating self-aggrandizement. Strength and illumination repudiating self-aggrandizement outwardly appear to be insufficient, yet inwardly are always superabundant. What one has grows ever more. What is great grows ever greater. The fault of losing what has been gained and naturally does not occur. This is great possession, valuing most firmness with the ability to be flexible. God damn. Doesn't work like that, brother. Whack that Tibetan bell. Okay, commentary section in the back here, 14. Primary hexagram again. It's gonna be real good stuff. It's alchemical. Wade into this alchemical goodness spouting out my mouth hole. Great possession, fire above, heaven below. Fire is in the sky, great possession. Thus does the superior person stop evil and promote good, obeying heaven and accepting its order. Great possession means greatness of possession. Above is fire, below is heaven. This is fire in the sky. When the sun is in the sky, much is produced. The sun shines afar. Everything is under the sun in the sky. This is the image of great possession. What superior people see in this is that the nature of celestial order is one integral principle in which all that is good is ultimately assembled. This is basic great possession. But because of mixture with temporal conditioning, once cognitive consciousness comes into play, the primordial is damaged. From this point on, good and bad mix. Those with great possession come to have little possession, and those with little possession come to have nothing. Therefore, as soon as a bad thought arises, superior people immediately stop it. And as soon as a good thought arises, they promote it, obeying heaven and finding happiness in its order. If one cannot find happiness in the celestial order, it is because of not being able to obey heaven. Not obeying heaven is due to not being able to stop evil and promote good. If one can stop evil and promote good, eventually one will reach ultimate good without evil. With true sanity always present, one returns to the pristine state of completeness, which is the order of heaven. Then one goes from destitution to possession, from possession to greatness. Human life in the world has a mission, which alone is important. Wow. With this direction there is life. Without it, there is death. If one cannot find happiness in this mission, this direction, this order, everything else is empty and false. That to which heaven directs humanity is only good. If one can find happiness in that command, then this is obeying heaven. Obeying heaven is the way to obey the command. Finding happiness in the celestial mandate is the way to find happiness in heaven. Having the direction of heaven is the greatest of possessions, but having the direction of heaven lies entirely in stopping evil and promoting good. Stopping evil and promoting good is illumination. Obeying heaven and finding happiness in its order is strength. Strength is the substance, illumination is the function. Open awareness, unobscured, embraces myriad principles and responds to myriad things. Through clarification of the quality of illumination, one eventually reaches ultimate good, wholly integrated with the celestial design, nature and life stabilized. No possession is more substantial than this. No greatness is greater than this. No external possessions in the world can compare with it. Rocking all over the place. Baby. 14 and what else? Adornment 22. Our supporting hexagram puts our primary hexagram in a broader context, an influence, a direction of travel, an underlying issue that has to do with you and your relationship to it all. Well, us and our relationship to it all. Or I am and I am's relationship to it all. Adornment, mountain above, fire below. There is fire below the mountain, adorning it. Thus do superior people clarify government affairs without presumptuous adjudication. Adornment is beautification. Above is mountain, below is fire. There is fire below the mountain. When there is fire below the mountain, everything below the mountain is bathed in its light, and the fire illumines the mountain. This is the image of adornment. What superior people see in this is that just as the light of a fire below a mountain is not great, when people are lacking in capacity, their vision is not far-reaching. Therefore, the superior people administer and clarify the simple matters of government affairs and do not act presumptuously in difficult matters of adjudication. Government affairs include such matters as the state of the manners and mores of the populace, finance, taxation, and civil proceedings. The thriving or decay of government affairs is obvious and easy to see. They are not difficult to manage and can be changed when mistakes occur. When it comes to the matter and adjudication of criminal cases, however, where life is at stake, there are obscure factors that are difficult to discern. Any lack of clarification can bring disaster on the innocent. Therefore, only the wise and perspicacious can judge. I don't know that word. Perspicacious can judge. Not judging presumptuously thus has the meaning of respect for life. The use of illumination by practitioners of the Tao is also not beyond this principle. Social relations and daily activities are like the affairs of government. The profound and recondite science of fulfilling nature and arriving at the meaning of life is like adjudication. Social relations are the human Tao. Fulfilling nature and arriving at the meaning of life are the celestial Tao. The human Tao is obvious and easy to see. Anyone with a bit of capacity and intelligence can handle it. When it comes to the celestial Tao, however, it requires the verbal transmission and mental communication of a true teacher, great enlightenment and great penetration before it is possible to manage it correctly. When the celestial Tao is truly realized, whatever comes to hand is the Tao. Benefiting oneself, one can also benefit others. This is the greatest accomplishment. If one does not have the transmission of a genuine teacher and imposes judgments by arbitrary guesswork, even the slightest error produces a great loss and misapprehension of human nature and life. How can one judge presumptuously? Not being presumptuous is the teaching of sages that enables people to nurture small understanding so as to gradually seek great understanding. It will not do to presume upon small understanding and thereby ruin the great work, deluding oneself and deluding others. Indeed, a little bit of knowledge can deceive people very much. All right. Read some random card. John chapter or chapters from the Tao Te Ching, and send you all on your merry ways. If you need to get a hold of me, I don't know. I'm just anticipatory of, you know, some people being a little wobbly, to say the least, here in the near future. So if you want to reach out, get involved, click into place, you can reach out to me. Eye of the Serpent Tarot is also instrumental, helping to build structure, creating a community of sorts for anyone who's interested. So just reach out. Feel free to reach out. Love to connect. You know what I mean? Let's integrate and assemble. Transformers, is that sounds like a transformer-y kind of thing they might do. And the Avengers. Okay. Let's take this one just because it wanted to be taken, I think. 45. Take me, take me. How'd this motherfucker end up reading I Ching? I don't fucking know. He was working here. I told you that. Tao Te Ching by, translated by Jia Fu Feng and Jane English. Chapter 45, Tao Te Ching. Feeling it all up around here and now. You guys all shiny out there. 45, that's what we were. Great accomplishment seems imperfect, yet it does not outlive its usefulness. Great fullness seems empty, yet it cannot be exhausted. Great straightness seems twisted. Great intelligence seems stupid. Great eloquence seems awkward. Movement overcomes cold. Stillness overcomes heat. Stillness and tranquility set things in order in the universe. Yeah, baby. Get some. Get some of that order. Get all cozy up in it. Let's go this one. It was like a deer antler kind of an evening. Morning in our days. Quite early. Jeez. Just performing tricks over here. Don't mind me. Oh, discombobbled, man. I'm telling you. Just trust me, I can do this normally. You're just gonna have to trust me on this one. Give you a send off with some Protecto Majo for your doggos and your kiddos and all your other dogs. Peace out. I love you. Good night. Mwah. Mwah, mwah.